Do not be fooled by those who disguise their treachery under the banner of Athenian unity. They have asked not only from a pardon from you, good citizens, for crimes of obscene greed and violence, but wish, through a corruption of jurisprudence, to prevent these deeds from living on in memory. These men will claim that enough blood has been shed, that Athens cannot unite until we absolve them and forget their crimes. Gentlemen, I beseech you, the opposite is true. We shall not unite the city until we demand to remember.
Here!
My son, Antilochus, strong and honorable, fought for all of you sitting here today throughout our hostilities with the Lacedaemonians. During our final hours and their siege of our city, my son was one of the few who refused to surrender. It is said, when our fate was nearly sealed, when hope was all but lost, my son could be here shouting across the city, better to die than yield to Spartan dogs. He could be heard refusing, he refused to allow the city to fall in the hands of those who would harm her.
It did.
And when red cloaks swept through our Athenian streets and took from our hands the power of the people and delivered it to the hands of the greedy, the despots, the likes which many of you may see here today,
the people led to the fall of the people.
He still
Traitors
refused to abandon her. I begged him, as the traitorous tyrant Critias and the 30 began their campaign against their own citizens, to flee to the Piraeus, or even endure the 3-day journey to the humble farm in Thoricus. Still he refused. He again would not leave the city or the people he loved. My son was dragged from the door of his very home by the followers of the 30. They threw him in these very streets and burned him like a dog.
You can't speak.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
Oh, all right.
As it has always been, and as today, the few conspire against the needs of many. They plot for our power. They plot for our riches, and today they demand your forgiveness for butchering our brothers and sons. Do not give it to them. These men come from the same stock, the pretentious, those acting in bad faith, questioning our noble Periclean ideals, those who challenge our very concepts of justice. Gentlemen, do not be fooled by this so-called logic, for it is simply a trick to justify their hoarding of riches and crimes against the state. These are the same men whose character would compel them to jump ship mid-campaign, sell his brothers out to the Lacedaemonians. And when the Lacedaemonians, with no small help from these men, finally came, when they took the power once shared and delivered it into the hands of these morally and intellectually superior citizens, what did they do, gentlemen? What did our guardians do for us?
Betrayed us!
Killed my brother.
They robbed us, and now my son is dead. To those like me, whose kinsman's blood still stains the streets of the Agora, the Piraeus, or even the banks of Sicily, do they not deserve justice? The justice we know in our hearts to be true, and to those sitting here, whose sons still breathe the free air. It is said that each generation's duty to pass on to their children an improved upon society. If you set this legal precedent and do not punish these men for their crimes, you will pass on to your sons and their sons an Athens unlike which we received in our infancy, but one debased, one impotent, unable to punish the wicked, unable even to protect those who would fight to defend her.
I am Thrasybulus! I bear the wounds of the Spartans. I fought to free our city. And now my colleague suggests that Athena would be glad if we did not seek revenge and justice upon those who allied themselves with the very Spartans who tore up her sacred olive trees when they plundered our homeland and raped us.
Athena shows...
I say no! Athena wants justice!
My dearest Athenian citizens, I come before you today with a comprehensive budget reform plan I humbly know as Alexandros. And with the passage of Alexandros, all of these speeches will be a irrelevant because our problems will be solved. So, first aspect, I guess should we just run down the proposition? You know what, let's just vote on it as a package. Just put, I proposed Alexand care, and we'll put our little package underneath Alexand care. First of all, the tribute mission, under a shared command of our greatest admirals, including yours truly, selflessly Alexandros, will go to the Ionian and Corinthian cities. We do not need to be rash and go to all districts. We should be smart and reserved and go to the
almost all of them.
We will be smart and reserved, and we will head to the second most districts. All right. Also, I have buddies in Ionia, and they say they're pretty weak right now. So I really think we have a good shot. Secondly, in relation to this tribute mission, the Athenian assembly must pass a law in advance of the mission ordering the execution of all men and the sale of women and children into slavery of all city-states that fail to pay the required tribute.
Here, here.
Not only does this project our strength across Attica and Ionia, it gives us increase in die roll. So that's a pretty important one. Thirdly, to the issue of assembly pay, I know some of you would like to continue to be paid the full amount, and some of them, even from my own faction, would like a complete removal of the assembly pay. But
Ooh, you don't need it, you're rich.
But because I am a man of the people, a man of democracy, I say that we only cut assembly pay by 25%. This helps to lower our deficit, but at the same time, keeps people engaged civically. So, under Alexander Kara.
We're going to talk. We'll talk after.
Okay. We'll cut assembly pay by 25%. Fourthly, the mines must be reopened.
Here.
Must be reopened. Though the return will be slow in the beginning, in the long run it'll help us and give us more money. Fifthly,
How many points are on this?
this is the last one. This is number 5. Fifthly, as a glorious leader of myself, I would like to be in one of the top 3 premier command positions. along with other noble volunteers that lead the mission.
I am Simon the Cobbler, and I am not. I haven't said anything. And I am not, by any means, one of the most wealthy Athenians. I would like to remind you of our perilous circumstances with our financial situation. We have not had time to send out this tribute mission and to collect the wealth that we may gain for it. Even after the single mission, it will not be enough to
More
fund
tribute missions.
the various. You're done. The various things that we want to do for our city, such as festivals and paying the assembly. So I propose we temporarily suspend pay for the assembly and jury courts. We must also be careful about this tribute mission. It may fail, and we may resort to this special property tax. Do you all want to get taxed this outrageous amount because we took a risk that we weren't ready to prepare for?
No,
Because you made us pay for it. The shoes were barely anything. Look at the wall. Look at the wall. Look at the glaze.
If it fails, Alexandros will pay 4% tax.
We'll be dead. Also, we should preserve this money because people should not have to be paid to participate in the Athenian government. I'm not saying that this should be permanent, but there are some people here that are currently more motivated by the pay itself than by actually participating in the assembly. Not everyone seems to vote every time. If you look at the issues, the numbers don't add up. And then, if you look at the people here today, is this everyone that could participate?
Oh.
And people should not be asking this of the city, especially in such a serious time. So I propose that we temporarily suspend pay for the assemblies and jury code.
Here.
Today I come to you in support of a stipend for the members of the assembly. We all take time away from our daily responsibilities to be here, to provide public service to the citizens of Athens. While we are here making decisions that affect every individual in our society, many of us are losing money from our primary means of income. When I am here, my orders are stacking up. Now, I pride myself on customer service. Happy customers mean return customers. However, if I am called to the assembly, and this is the 3rd time this month, I fall behind on my orders, my customers get upset, and I risk losing them. And if I lose customers, I lose my livelihood. And by Demeter, that would upset my wife, Praxagoras. I know that I'm not the only one here today that is affected by the loss of this productive time. We've heard extreme versions, both from the Solonians and from my colleague Simon the Cobbler. And I propose a more moderate approach. I think we owe it to those among us who find themselves in different circumstances now that the 30 have been overthrown to acknowledge that our own personal economics have changed and may continue to change. I'm not proposing a large sum of money, merely 2 obols per assembly member. And remember, I am not proposing payment for jury members. I understand this will put them in a similar financial situation, but for now, the finances of Athens do not support payment for the jury members. I think if our tribute missions are successful, they can help us fund payments for jury members, and we can address this again in the future. I challenge you, my fellow assembly members, to support the needs of each other and approve this measure.
It is I! Thrasybulus! I'm not here with some fancy speech. I'm just here with a simple bread sandwich. And I'm here to say everyone deserves a simple bread sandwich. Here, here! Bread! But if we reduce our jury pay, there will only be bread sandwiches for those who already have them. So I say bread, no reduction in jury pay. I also propose a tax on the Solonians to help cover our current budget deficit.
I volunteer to pay the tax.
And I wish to remind you that it is I, Thrasybulus, the hero of the Piraeus. Also, of Argonusae and many other naval battles, I'm quite well qualified to be a general, and I'm willing to share that position with our fine colleague over here. So I propose that I become a general as well, and I propose that we impose a tax on the Solonians, and I concur that we should not reduce our jury pay.
Sir, sir.
And bread for all!
Bread for all! Are you supporting the tribute mission as outlined in Alexandros?
No way! No way!
Then if you would like to be a general, please propose your own.
Nope. Tribute mission. Same one, but not Alexandros there.
Gentlemen of Athens, I come before you today, having allowed slaves and medics to be part of our assembly and our jury system. Oh yes, I bring forward the motion that we allow our wives to do so as well.
What?
Why? Well, first of all, guys, we don't have to pay them. Their households take care of them. We don't have to pay them. Problem solved. Second of all, they take care of our finances, our slaves, our households.
Which they won't have time to do if they're busy voting.
Still don't have to pay them. Further, gentlemen, my wife has not allowed me in her quarters since last assembly. I stand up for her. So I bring forward the motion that we allow women to participate in the assembly, the jury, and the council.
Has Socrates committed assault? Has he committed perjury, homicide, usury? No, Socrates stands accused of impiety and corruption of the minds of the youth and being tried for simply being tried, apparently. I find it disheartening that our legal recourse has fallen so far that we can simply manufacture charges to fit crimes that we want to create against individuals with whom we have personal grudges. What does it mean to corrupt the minds of the youth? Could hard evidence be produced to corroborate this crime, or would it be purely conjecture? I suppose such a crime could open an entire Pandora's box of acts or thoughts that could be tried on entirely subjective terms before a tribunal. Perhaps corrupting the youth could be seen in a far more tangible charge of reckless endangerment. How could Socrates be recklessly endangering our youth? I know not, but I know very well how the leaders of our tribute mission could fit this charge. In fact, this charge of reckless endangerment could easily be substantiated by hard evidence in the form of probability and statistics.
What are those?
Now I consider myself a betting man.
Are you trying to charge everybody who voted in favor of the tribute mission?
What is this geo?
No, just the leaders.
Wait. As a moderately motivated individual, I believe in constant self-improvement, goal-oriented objectives, and the sheer force of will to get things done. These are Athenian traits, and they show the world why Athens sits righteously at its center. We Athenians achieved greatness not through wild bets, but through the strongest work ethic the world has ever seen. And here I stand, defending a man who believed in Athenian greatness, while in the background, a roulette wheel spins. My greatest hope being that the roll of dice favors the bold. I certainly do hope that the tribute mission's 45% chance of success proves me a squawking monotonous fool. We may sit here arguing about Socrates, what he believes and what he does not believe, but we are the ones who are on trial before the gods. For if our tribute mission beats the odds, its further success will be founded upon massacre, plunder, and enslavement of all women and children. Socrates. If Athens is the horse, then Socrates is the bothersome gadfly. He may come across brash and pompous, but we use these traits to move us forward. And so I offer this. To convict someone of a crime that has been completely manufactured out of personal spite is to convict oneself. However, to convict someone for speaking the truth is to convict democracy itself.
Intense.
It's very intense. Here.
Talk to us.
Did you write a speech?
Socrates wonders about men. What a difference a day makes. Now times that by 20, my son is now hollow, a horn of unplenty. As war waged on and our fortunes vanished, we went hungry, a city infamished. The unexamined life is not worth living, well then, a toast. I think it's time we looked at some of those we hold close. Oh, to Alexandros, ever assiduous, first of my friends, and sweet Socrates, who sits all day and wonders about men. Wisdom or cowardice do I smell in the theater tonight? Here on the right, on the wall. The Socratics must I think, be well endowed. Otherwise, I don't know how they could possibly survive on a diet so meager. Well, I think I know the true wisdom of their teacher, O to Alexandros, ever the assiduous, first of my friends, second seat Socrates, who sits all day and dreams of men. He said, education, my hands are shaking. He said, education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. I say we give Socrates something extra special. Let us send every Socratic here by trireme to battle. From the fires of education, they can here show their mettle. For if not, I have seen them peddling, wheeling. Simon supports Alexandros, then when he speaks, mock shock, reeling. Oh, to Alexandros, ever the assiduous, and sweet Socrates, who sits all day and wonders of men. Then he says, he who is not contented with what he has will not be contented by what he would like to have. Alas, they snake and weave under the flag of wisdom to raise Athens with their fire and burn our system. So few times they interrupt, preferring that we squabble, waiting to strike like the snake at the ankle when hobbled. Simon, your shoes don't protect so well. Let's think of those two things in life that don't vary. Well, only a little, for too much is just scary, inevitable. Why even bother to test it? We finished the taxes. Now all that's left is, you guessed it. They'd replace our legacy and history with noble lies and philosopher kings. And there, the unambitious, contented with simply learnings, All day they sit and gleefully cheer with shining choruses that everyone hears. Wise, pretty young men all sit in a pack. They seduce us with wisdom, their knowledge of front and the back. Like how Alexandros and Simon are always sharing a whisper, talking casually of wives and oh how they miss her. Oh to Alexandros, first of my friends, and sweet Socrates who sits all day and dreams of men. Oh to Alexandros, the general, the man, with many great deeds to his name, but only deeds for land. He has come before you as a steward of Athens, leading a perilous journey with some of his faction. But I say nay, I propose an alternate, yes, an aside, that we not ask Alexandros to die nor reside. A man of the people should row with his brothers. Prove it! A man, Socrates, with the right ambitions for Athens, should be at the face of her glory. Prove it! Oh, to Alexandros, ever assiduous, first of my friends, and second sweet Socrates, who sits all day and wonders of men, Alexandros, I propose you demoted. And Socrates, risen to general, if so voted. That Athens may have her sweet justice at last, let his followers be his rowers and his damn cast. Oh, and a last thing, to be done with poetics. What will Plato's Republic really achieve, the vision so grand? The answer is, well, a little more bland. It will achieve success in wars against roughly even proportion. It will make a few rich and a few many more orphans. It will almost certainly produce no advances in science or art or bold and great leaders. We will have to wait for Alexandros to speak to ever get more theater. Because of its rigidity in this respect, as in others, it will be like Sparta, a place without luster. In spite of all the fine talk, that is all we could get. We have lived through famine and defeat in Athens, yet perhaps the best way they, the Socratics, think statesmanship can do is to simply avoid the ills that led to our ills. That the highest mark of being a senator is simply the fostering of a reasonable world. Reason? Reason? Logic? Deductive methods of rhetoric? I do not know. All I know is I have glimpsed into the face of death and war, and it is the only certainty. Reason does not belong at the center of our lives. Ultimately, reason seeks justification and not truth. There is no reason in death, only truth, and in life the same. Things outside of our control in this universe, and thus are out of our comprehension. We cannot analyze if we cannot see all the parts. We must analyze. Each person, man and woman, interprets what is in front of us differently. No, the point of this life and this state is not reason, but goodness. Let us live well today and tomorrow, unreasonably well.
Yeah.